stolen from? Someone that you ate dinner with? Someone who was part of your group? Betrayal. Have you ever felt stolen from? Came home and a thief had gone through your personal items, gone through your cabinet, gone through your important paperwork, your notes. Someone defiled, betrayed, stomped on, traded it in. We read this here. It says, and he cast down the pieces of silver in the temple and departed and went and hanged himself. And the chief priest took the silver pieces and said, it is not lawful for to put them into the treasury because it is the price of blood. And they took counsel and bought with them the potter's field to bury strangers in it. Wherefore that field was called the field of blood, and to this day. Welcome to our second annual holiday broadcast here in beautiful downtown St. Louis, near my favorite building because it was my daughter's favorite building when she was young, and I would take her downtown. Judas affirms your destiny. We thank you for your support this year and your encouragement, and it's been a hard year for many, but with hardness comes wonderful opportunity. When we speak of Judas, I'd like you to come to the table, whether you're an atheist, a believer, doesn't really matter. When we say Judas right now, what we're talking about, I'll refer to it as they, because deception in leadership comes when we single out betrayal and Judas as being significant only in one personal individual person, rather than a spirit, a presence, an atmosphere that we deal with as individuals. In my undergraduate studies, probably it'd be a tight running, but perhaps the most significant course that I took was a marketing course with a high-level banking executive. And I remembered learning about something that would affect me later on, very much so, and continues to this day, which is market distractors. And it's a wonderful thing to learn about that, that, if you have 100 supporters and you start to just get a couple distractors, it's a very interesting study on what those distractors will do to your service, your product, if you're speaking of business, your leadership, your whatever you're about, your branding, your personhood. And it's wonderful to start to really analyze this, because you'll find that distractors maybe aren't necessarily your enemies. And in fact, while some may be malicious and some just flat out might be doing what they do and it's nothing personal type thing, it's the domino effect that has our interest, because then people that we classify as friends or supporters or our entourage or people in our corner, it's not that they cease from being classified as our friend. In modern social media, we'll still say we're friends with them on whatever platform. But I guess a very lighthearted example would be, is they're just there to explore what's going on in your life, not necessarily support it. And this is when we see, let's say you got 3 market distractors of 100. The 97 are still classified as your supporters. But those 3, because they cause question marks and gray areas, it's not that your supporters are withdrawing themselves from being classified as in your group and for you, especially if you have a conversation with them, but it is casting enough grayness or question marks to withdraw visible proactive support. And we find this very, very common in today's culture because we have a culture that goes on hearsay, media, rather than saying, you know what, I heard something, I want to address it, I'm going to have coffee with the person. And even then, I still might not know after one meeting. Getting to the heart and facing the matter. So all of this, even the distractors are not the source. The source behind all of that is betrayal. And betrayal is necessary on the way to your destiny. No matter what industry, no matter what way no matter what front, no matter how you're carrying it out or manifesting it, the purpose that you have conviction rather than just preference for inside of you, what you are about in your life, what you care about, what you are willing to die for, the thing that affirms part of that destiny. It's not the initial affirmation, it's not the initial confirmation, but part of that journey before terrible and wonderful things happen further is for betrayal to be revealed in your life, for Judas to be revealed. And as a result of Judas, remember, Judas is close. Judas might be part of your home. Judas might be part of your group. They're the ones who eat pasta with you. Your Judas will eat chicken wings with you. Your Judas will have coffee and have a donut with you. And the powerful thing is that when you recognize that Judas is from inside the gate, and you start to minimize that shock factor when it happens to you, because you already know, maybe not people around you, but you already know that there's a death and a burial and a resurrection and 40 days of walking around in an ascended body for 40 days and the ascension. You know in the basement of yourself the trouble and the glory that you're heading for down the road in order to lead that lasting influence, to fulfill your personal conviction, not just a preference, but what's deeply rooted inside of you in the basement, in the gut of yourself. You know, so yeah, there's going to be your group, your inner circle, and rightfully so, that's going to want to retaliate. But your power is in your foreknowledge. Your power is that you already knew that trouble would have to come to equal glory. You already know that what must happen in order to cement your destiny in concrete so that it leaves a lasting legacy. See, people around you will see retaliation as the answer. But Judas knows, and you know. And when you can have foreknowledge and know that the trouble and the glory that is to come, and you already have that settled deep inside of yourself, even if people closely in your inner circle, they don't quite understand the full grasp of what you're seeing and feeling, you know that Judas is part of the affirmation of the destiny. It's understanding transitional phases in leadership. It's not just becoming a leader. It's not just having the dove descend on you. But once you're an established leader, there's also other transitional moments and phases and dimensions. And when we talk about these things to come, you know that part of that process is betrayal, and that spirit and that presence, that atmosphere of Judas that comes against you. So you know it in your gut. So here's what you got. You got Judas, who's the source. And then you got a couple distractors that are a little bit more visible that start to work their distracting. And then what it creates is a domino effect of people who are classified as your friends, classified as supporters. And if you had opportunity to really speak to them, they would understand and they would support. But what happens is, in human nature, is all of that casts a gray area, like the sky behind me. It casts question marks. So then now your broad road of influence and leadership suddenly boils down to a very narrow pathway, not paved with cement, but is hard on the feet. and there's jungles, and you gotta pioneer a new pathway. And it comes from the source of betrayal, okay? Because here you are in your house. It's rightfully yours. And when betrayal comes at you, when the spirit of Judas comes at you, and it touches the value system of you, it touches your treasures, it touches something that under every justifiable condition in this life, we know that it is not right. That justifiably, that should not be taken or minimized in your life, because that's your treasure, that is your value. But when Judas comes and steals what should be rightfully yours, your life, your well-being, your destiny, how you're operating, and when that broad road of influence gets narrowed down, and that source of Judas dominoes to the distractors, and then dominoes to supporters who now are questioning and have gray areas about their mindset of you. This is what I encourage you to do. We've got to be like the widow, not looking for oil down at the grocery store, but down inside of our basement, because it's just like collegiate scouting. I don't judge a young man or young woman based upon one play or one game. It's the body of work. So when we understand our body of work and things to come, here's what I really want to say. You're Judas, okay? And people talk about 2020. Humbly and thankfully, all glory to God, it may have been the most blessed year of my life in our household. And that's with trouble and hell that no one knows about. But I've also gone through 2020s a few years back when other people weren't. And now in a position where I can kind of help and give back for some people who are going through their 2020 currently. And what I want to say to you is that, not future tense, but when you can quiet yourself down, December, maybe for a month, sometimes even January for a month, I start to minimize my interaction with other people. I want my life to get quiet. I want it to be with my family, my core, my unshakable core. And when you quiet down the senses, quiet down the vibrations, and you realize that Judas has already sold you. Judas has already affirmed your destiny. And your destiny is set like conviction compared to preference. It's rooted, it's in the gut of your system, even when others don't see it. Even if others don't see it yet. Even if that domino effect has not occurred all the way out yet. You know, and Judas knows that it has occurred. And so anyone who has felt stolen from, betrayed, I want to encourage you that that is part, and view it as an affirmation of the destiny that you have in your life, your family, the legacy, the influence that your purpose and you're driven for and that you care so deeply about. And so I just want to say thank you for such a wonderful year. And my heart goes out to all those who are hurting and who have experienced great loss this year. And we believe in you, and we're thankful for your support and encouragement. We believe in you. And remember, Judas has already affirmed your destiny. Judas, betrayal, has already been a great road sign to you, and in time, the rest of the world, of the great both trouble and glory that you have. That broad road has become narrow, and that source starts with Judas, and then it dominoes out. But all this must happen to fulfill the destiny that you have. We believe in you wholeheartedly. The March Leadership Foundation, the March family, we love you, and we believe in you.